We're very aware, are we not, that Meghan Markle was less than happy with her spectacular and very costly royal wedding at St George's Chapel all those years ago now in, of course, May 2018. St George's Chapel, you see, was not Westminster Abbey. She didn't feel, if you remember, that she was being given the same respect as perhaps Catherine, the Princess of Wales, or simply the Duchess of Cambridge, as she was then. Meghan wanted certain things, and that infamous line that was resoundingly told, of course, to Angela Kelly was, "What Meghan wants, Meghan gets." Clearly, though, Prince Harry failed on this. But interestingly, it wasn't really his only attempt. And more importantly, even Meghan decided her very best to try and perhaps, shall we say, twist the arm and mind of our late and brilliant monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. Grifting at Westminster Abbey? You bet. Let me explain. Morning, good to see you. Thank you so much as ever for your time. Westminster Abbey is a wonderful place. If you do come over to London and you can afford it, it's a little bit pricey, but the tour is definitely worth a one-time visit, you know. Even if you can't, just go to one of the services there, because the sort of history of the building is incredible, you know. And when you think what's gone on there, and of course take a moment to reflect on the tomb of the unknown soldier, everything is there. It literally is one of those, you know, one-stop historical moments if you do come over to the brilliant United Kingdom. But of course, Meghan wasn't really interested in that, as one can imagine. Westminster Abbey signified one thing: glitz, glamour, prestige, and all eyes on her. This was a woman who claimed that she knew nothing about the British monarchy, but had avidly watched the wedding of Prince William and, of course, Catherine Middleton at the time. And she knew every single detail and facet, and she wanted Westminster Abbey. It was broken to her by her soon-to-be husband, Prince Harry, that that wouldn't be the case, simply because of seniority, protocol, royal protocol, whatever you want to call it. But Meghan wasn't giving in. According to sources who were around at that point, particularly people who worked alongside her, who were left bereft, terrified and living in fear, having worked for the Duchess, they told me this: that Meghan hit upon a plan that she figured might be able to turn this whole situation around. And she tried to engineer a one-to-one meeting with our late monarch, Queen Elizabeth, to make sure it could happen. She'd been told allegedly by Harry that that wasn't the case, and it would have to be St George's Chapel. She went to visit St George's Chapel and found it musty and all that sort of stuff. Didn't like the smell of it. And why, more importantly, should she be there when Catherine had been at Westminster Abbey? You understand how this works now. Her idea apparently was to get into a one-to-one with Queen Elizabeth and point out that in fact it would be her father's dream to see her walking down the aisle in such an historical and, well, royal prestige event as Westminster Abbey. This was reiterated back to the inner court of Her Majesty the Queen, who clearly understood a charlatan when she met one. You know, I mean, there's no two ways about it. Now, what's interesting, and I think this is the bit that you really need to take a moment to think about, when Meghan realised, of course, that even that particular powerful wanting a one-to-one meeting with the Queen about that, when that didn't materialise, amazingly, suddenly, of course, her father, Thomas Markle, gets caught out with the paparazzi, faking up, you know, being measured for a suit and looking at English history, that sort of stuff. And then he was unable to attend due to ill health. Suddenly stepped forward the then Prince of Wales, King Charles as he is now, to half-walk Meghan down the aisle. So for all of those people that say, no, you know, she's sort of dainty and sweet and nice, this was a woman that wasn't giving up. She didn't get Westminster Abbey, but she did get the Prince of Wales, the future king, to half-walk her down the aisle. And all of that was pushed forward as soon as Westminster Abbey was written off. And Harry had to go and ask his father if he'd step into the breach, under strict orders from his wife-to-be. You see how it all planned out now? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.